Welcome to r/relationships, where we get to hear people's relationship problems. A month after reconnecting, an old friend, 23F, admits that she hid the fact she has a boyfriend despite saying she thought I, 25 meters, had no romantic interest in her. I'll try to keep this brief, but I feel like some background is necessary. I'll drop a line in bold at the point you can skip to present day. 3 years ago, we were coworkers. We connected during a time when her and her boyfriend were on a break, and I told her that I wasn't interested in being the break boy, but that I wanted to remain friends. I was open about my feelings for her, and she understood. She said we would have made a great couple under different circumstances, but it was just bad timing. They did get back together shortly after, and over the course of the next few months we grew closer together, platonically. We lived close together, so I would pick her up and drop her off after work. We would sit in my car and talk for sometimes up to 8 hours after our shifts ended. About love, life, movies, books, music, whatever. We were synced up on every wavelength. It was clear, from beginning to end, that we thought of each other differently from how we think of our other friends. It was like speaking with a shared soul in a different body. We frequently discussed the idea of having a soulmate who wasn't your boyfriend/girlfriend. Besides that, we were strictly platonic. I grew worried over time that our discussions bordered on emotional cheating, and that weighed heavily on me. When they broke up, we had a brief romantic relationship that was sort of the release of all that. The first night is one that we both agree was one of, if not the most amazing romantic night of our lives. Obviously though, she was not ready for a relationship that soon, and I was struggling with other things, so it blew up. A lot of horrible things were said. We stopped talking soon after. Every few months since then, I would get a message from her, usually along the lines that she missed me, missed that connection we had, etc. I was friendly, but conversation would end quickly. This is where we get to now. In January, I got the usual message. This time, something was different. Conversation didn't end after a day, or 2, or 3. She said she wanted to see me and just take a walk through the park, but I declined, because my mom is sick right now, and I don't want to risk giving her COVID. She would make what I thought were other post-COVID date plans, going to a restaurant we both liked, going to Disneyland together, etc. She would send me fishing snaps talking about how pretty she looked and so on. Most importantly, she mentioned that night. She said she still thought about it often, and it is usually what triggers her to message me. She said the book she's writing features a scene based on that, and the protagonist of the story is based on me. She made it clear that when she thought about rekindling our friendship, that was the first thing that came to mind. I was initially unsure how I felt about her, but over time I realized that I was happier texting her than any girl I've been with in the last 3 years. I felt like I was talking to the same girl who I shared a soul with years before. I was willing to take this further. I was so sure I knew where this was going. I poured my heart into this relationship. Dumb move, I know. Last night, things went a little further. After discussing her calculus class, she sent a picture of her legs in the bathtub saying how nice it is to unwind after class. I made a sly comment about missing her bathtub snaps, and she sent another picture with the caption, "Oh really? Okay, I'm in. Let's keep this train rolling." Then the train becomes suddenly derailed when she says, "I don't think you want to do this with me." Why? Well, I didn't think you were still romantically interested in me. Also boyfriend. I didn't mention it before because I thought it would hurt our rekindled friendship. Okay. That would have been nice to know a month ago. It would have saved me from sinking my heart into this. Apparently the bath snaps were okay because she didn't think I would be interested. Mostly though, I'm confused by this apparent contradiction. She didn't think I was interested, but didn't tell me anyway because it might risk our friendship. These two lines don't add up. The way I see it, there's really only two meanings. She truly didn't think I was interested, but didn't tell me, so she could farm attention, which doesn't make sense, because she assumed I wasn't interested, therefore wouldn't be good for attention seeking, or she wanted to gauge my interest, but had to come clean the moment things went too far. I can't think of any other reason she wouldn't tell me. I did ask her about this contradiction, but she ignored it, simply saying I should have told you. I asked her if she wanted to meet socially distanced in the park. and talk about it, but all she said was not today, maybe this weekend. That's the last we spoke. Knowing her as well as I do, I know that maybe means I hope you forget by then. I know that if I see her face to face I'll get a straight answer about everything, but I'm not interested in pushing her. In the meantime, I'm looking for some advice. Given our background, what do you think is going on here? I've tried to be as objective as possible to give you the best idea of the situation. In general, I'm feeling strong when Harry met Sally vibes, asking myself over and over if it's even possible for us to be just friends. As much as it breaks my heart, I'm starting to think it isn't possible for us. As long as she's in a relationship, I'll always feel like the man on deck, and I'm too proud for that. On the other hand, I don't want to lose that friendship. However, that friendship is so inherently based in our romantic feelings from the very beginning. Now for the top comments. Her line about not telling you about the boyfriend makes no sense, and you know this. You two have an interest in each other that I would argue, quite bluntly, has never been platonic. My heart breaks for you, but it seems like she is content to send you mixed signals when she feels like it, even when she's in a relationship. My personal opinion is that you need to cut it off and spend your attention and love elsewhere. Thank you. I got thinking about the exact wording of her message. I didn't think there was any romantic interest from you to me. It's awkwardly worded, like she specifically avoided saying between us. It dawned on me that the answer is sort of obvious. She still has a romantic interest, but, thinking that I didn't, assumed she could get away with flirting without consequence. That she could just flirt at me, and I wouldn't do anything about it, because I wasn't interested. Telling me would break that illusion. Me making it real broke the illusion for good. Sort of explains why she was dodgy when I pushed the issue. I still hope to see her in person this weekend, so I can get a straight answer, and I think I'm going to tell her that I think it's impossible for us to be just friends, especially if one or both of us is in a relationship. Now for the next story. I, 22F, do not want to continue my relationship with my abusive father, 50 meters, in my adulthood. I moved out of my abusive parents' home officially a year ago this month. Over the last year, I kept some contact, but it continued to be very toxic, so I decided to keep it extremely limited like holidays and such to better my mental health. He has now been contacting me in various ways with small talk over the last week or so, and I just have chosen to ignore them, because I'm not really interested in continuing a relationship like that, because of the type of angry and anxious person both my parents make me. My mother texts me today upset that I haven't responded to my dad, and we haven't talked since Christmas. A lie. I spoke with him 2 weeks ago because he needed something printed. Come to find out, they need me to take removal of the things in my old bedroom. BC my grandma is moving in, and they are giving me a few days to do it, and that's what my dad was trying to tell me, and my mom of course blaming me for the situation. Very typical of them. Like, if you need something, get to the point. We are not buddy. I'm annoyed because never ever, since I moved away to college in 2017, have I responded to one of his how ya doing texts, so why would I start now? I don't want a relationship with him, either of them really, and I've been super clear about that for years now, and they are just not getting it. I have an older sister who removed herself from them, but it was while the abuse was going on. I think they are not taking me seriously because they haven't been outwardly abusive like that in years and have chosen to forget it because they treated us awfully. How do I even begin to make that clear at this point? I'm not interested in being friends or even really friendly until I get some validation for the trauma I went through. TL. Doctor, I do not want to continue a close relationship with my abusive parents and made that clear a while ago. They are not getting it and getting angry with me because I want to limit our interactions to holidays and birthdays because it is too toxic to keep them close. I'm not interested in small talk. If it were up to me, I'd cut them off completely, but I can't do that at this point in my life. What do I do? Update. I sent them both a message explaining how I feel and how it is challenging to grow into adulthood with my trauma lingering over me without a resolution. My mom got immediately defensive and accusatory, not surprising. I just said I was sad she had so much anger in her heart, blah blah. She told me she wouldn't read my text, so I'll let her know she will not have a relationship with her grandchildren. and will not be a part of my next chapter if she can't see why I'm upset. If I know anything about my parents, it will likely continue to get worse and will likely start to involve my grandma, who is all about getting along, but fuck that. I'm valid and my feelings are valid. I can't back down, because then they will assume I'm full of empty threats, but I'll be damned if I allow my future kids to be around abusers, and I will not force myself to be kind to those who hurt me and do not expect consequences. Now for the top comments. It is your absolute right not to want contact with toxic people, even if those people are your parents. I don't think it's a matter of them not understanding that you want no contact, but more of a not respecting your limit issue. They have been abusive to you. Why think of you now? Do not wait for them to validate your trauma. Probably they never will. I'm sure it must be hard for you to have to cut off your parents, but it is for your own good. I would suggest to say it clearly one more time, and if they still ignore that, block them. Blood relationship is not a suicide pact. You don't owe them a relationship simply because you have their genetic material, or because they want one with you. If your life would be better without them in it, then cut them out of it. But know that if you do, holidays and birthdays may not be on the table, because if you don't engage with them on their terms, they're under no obligation to engage with you on yours. So if you really want to have them out of your life, go and get whatever you need out of the room that they are going to be putting your grandmother in, and then be done. You don't have to have any communications with them that you don't want to have. You don't even have to explain it to them. They don't have to accept it, or agree with you, or even understand your reasons. You just communicate with them if and when you are prepared to, and not at any other time. Why do you need validation? You know what you went through. I didn't need my alcoholic abusive father to claim his shit when I cut him off. I just did it. Go get your stuff, be cordial and do not engage, and then when you get home write them a single email explaining yourself. They don't need to agree with you. They never will. Don't waste your precious life on trying to get them to see it your way. Now for the last story. An old friend, 30F, wants to marry me, 30 meters, out of the blue to avoid her marriage. I've been friends with her from nearly a decade. We both are from conservative Asian families, where arranged marriages is the norm. She is an extreme introvert, and her family controls her life to the point where they made her study in an all-female school, college, and university. I'm her only male friend apart from her brother and father. That being said, our contact dropped in our mid-20s because we got busy with our lives. We were in contact only for 2 years, so we don't know much about each other. We just know bits and pieces, but nothing much. Anyways, she contacted me out of the blue last week and asked to meet. This was highly unusual for her, because like I said, her highly controlling family won't allow her to go out whenever she wants. So, we both met for dinner, and she asked whether I would marry her. I was immediately taken aback by her odd question. She then went on to say that her parents are planning to get her married to some random guy, but she doesn't want to. She tells me that she'd rather marry someone she knows, which is me, than some random guy. She then started to bawl her eyes out, and I tried consoling her, but she won't. She kept on saying that let's get married and move away somewhere else. I told her that what she's saying is not practical, and we just can't marry on a whim, but she isn't listening to me. She even wants me to talk to her parents and convince them, and in turn, said that she'll talk to my parents and convince them if they won't accept. I told her that this is ridiculous what she's saying, but she's just not listening. I don't know what to do now. I'm stuck with a ticking time bomb. TL. Doctor, an old friend contacted me out of the blue and wants us to get married. Now for the top comments. Tell her very clearly that you are not marrying her. If you are so inclined, offer to try to help her get out of her arranged marriage in another way. At 30 years old she is an adult and shouldn't be forced to do anything by her parents. If her family is trying to force her into an arranged marriage, how are they going to react when she tells them she married somebody else without their permission? I would bet serious money that they wouldn't just say, oh well, that's that then, and leave her alone to get on with her life. Every bone in my body wants you to save the poor girl, which is a ridiculous and horrible idea that you should shut down with borderline cruelty if necessary. This is not a time bomb. The answer is no. Give her fair warning that if she asks again you will block her completely. Of course that's up to you on the everything, but especially the blocking. What worries me most is that she won't attempt an alternative to breaking the arranged marriage. She insists on marrying you. I know this is a giant leap, but I wonder if someone got her pregnant. It's the only time I've seen someone desperate to get married out of the blue, and eventually someone takes them up on it. She is truly acting in desperation on out of nowhere, so major red flags are going off. She knew about this arranged marriage for a long time, probably, but now she is panicking. Why now? Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing as it really motivates me to make more of these videos. Have an amazing day.